ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಆಫ್ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೋ ರಾಮಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರ ಹೆಸರು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆ ಚೇರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ರಕ್ಷಾ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡ್ಜಂಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ತಮ್ಮ ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರತಿಭಾನ್ವಿತರಾದ ವೈದ್ಯನಾಥನ್ ಅವರು ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ನೀಡಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಕಾಲಿಕ, ಬಹಳ ಕಠಿಣವಾದ್ದು ಹೌದು, ಸಕಾಲಿಕವೂ ಹೌದು. ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಕ್ರೈಸಿಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, which is very much relevant, at the same time very, very difficult. I request Professor Vaidyanathan ji to deliver his lecture.
I think we have to get into the topic right away. When we say the global crisis, first point we should mention is it is Anglo-Saxon crisis. It's not a global crisis. Because anything pertaining to Europe or US, we call it as global crisis. If there is a, Second World War was primarily a war between Germany and Britain. France was conquered, another thing. But it became a world war in which Indians died in Singapore, Sudan and other places. Looking back at it, it looks very funny. When two European nations are fighting, whether it is First World War or Second World War, more Indians died on all the front. So anything crisis in Europe or US is immediately made into a global crisis. This first point we should understand in this. If you see the map there, if you go back 1990, not very much far, at least for the group here, unlike my students, many of them would have been born after 2000 and another thing. Here I think the average age may be 60 or something. So most of the people would know about 1990. The G7 countries, I'm sure most of you would have heard about G7, 7 rich countries, US, Britain, Canada, France, Germany, and all these, except Japan, all of them are white countries only. They had 50, more than half of the global income. We call it GDP, Gross Domestic Product, which is the word we can use is income, in 1990. The emerging market, they had something like 36%. Other countries, the major other countries are India, China, Brazil and Indonesia. If you take these 4 countries, they will account for good portion of the others. And then you come to 2016, just before the our epidemic, you find that the G7 is only having 36% of the global income. Whereas these emerging and other developing economies have got 52%. This is something which is very, very important to note. And the decline you can see, we call it mathematically, called monotonically declining. In the sense, it's not something comes down, goes up, comes down, nothing like that. It is coming down. And today I mean 2023, their share is supposed to be around 30%. And it is expected to become 25% in the next 5 years. And that is the crisis. You understand? The crisis is for whom? It will become 25% and the remaining will be obviously the emerging. That is why the famous economist, he was doing the research and other things. He was telling countries like India and China are not developing countries, they are redeveloping countries. He said they had more than 50% of the income share in every century, first century, second century, third century, you go up to 1828. Their share of the global income was more than 50%, these 2 countries. So he was telling they are retrieving. Angus Madison is a very well-known economist. He studied a large scale project from 2000, from zero Christ period to 2000. So he told these countries cannot be called emerging market, they are re-emerging markets. So this is the picture actually. So you can see where is the crisis and what is and the crisis is getting accelerated. It's not getting anything solved or anything. You can have a look at the next one. This is the global position in last year, 2023. We are in 2024. This PPP, we have mentioned the word, that is purchasing power parity. What is done is, different countries have different currencies, inflation rate, interest rate and other thing. It has to be adjusted on a common platform so that comparison can be made. And as an example, say I am making 50,000 rupees, let us say, per month. My niece who is teaching in California is making 50,000 US dollar. Just as an illustration. Both are 50,000. But that doesn't mean both of us are on the same footing. Here in Bangalore, for something like 6,000 to 7,000 rupees, I can get some housemaid to do the cleaning of the house and then, folding of the batte and all this and vessels and other. For say 6,000 per month. There per hour she has to pay 60 US dollar, which comes to roughly 4,800 if you want to multiply. So it's not really comparable. Some of the services I can get at a much lower compared to her. Similarly, food and other items, they will be spending not more than 12 to 15% of their income. Food, and then provisions and your dairy products, egg and other non-veg items, not more than 12 to 15%. In India, an average middle class, it will be around 50 to 60%. Again, these items. So comparison is not appropriate just by taking the number, and that is why IMF has evolved. We will not go into that. They have evolved a methodology statistically in order to make comparisons, and that is why the word PPP is used. On that basis, China is number one. 33 trillion. 1,000 billion makes a trillion. 1,000 million makes a billion. So 33 trillion is their GDP. USA is number two. We are number three on this basis. And Japan is number four as of 2023. But if we take a nominal term, that is without adjusting all this, IMF index and all these things, just take the numbers. You will find US is number one. Then we have China and Japan, Germany and India. India is number 5. Of course, we are telling that we should become number 3. We should hope or wish or whatever it is, right? We should become number 3 and work on it, another thing. As of now, we are number 5. We were number 6. We just crossed Britain to become number 5. This is the picture. And what is the reason for the crisis? These countries, after all, they are doing well and other thing. What has happened to them? There's a huge amount of indebtedness in all these countries. Debt to national income, if you take. These are slightly earlier figures actually. Canada, it has crossed 300%. US has crossed 300%. Britain has crossed 550%. Our own Britain, I call it. Because sooner or later they would request us to run the country. I am telling you seriously. Right? We had a East India Company, you form a West India and then come on. They tried our Indian origin Prime Minister. It didn't work out. They're in acute crisis, not ordinary type of a crisis. Three types of debts are there when we talk about debt. One is the government debt. All of us know that's called sovereign debt. And the government debt, government doesn't bother because government has a printing press. They can always print and then distribute. So it will add to increase inflation and all those things. That's a separate issue. So the government debt. Second is corporate debt. All these companies, big companies, borrowing and other things. Sometimes they pay, sometimes they don't pay. They go to London and then settle down there. England is the place where all the criminals, crooks, terrorists, everybody is given a accommodation. You come over here, we will. And then court cases will drag on and on. And some of you, I believe in rebirth. So maybe next birth, that person may be brought here. One doesn't know. And the judge will become the accused will become the lawyer will become the judge in the next birth. So that is a corporate debt. And the banks will have to write off. And the government obviously had to come forward to fund it. It has to be. Sometimes what happens, the bank's position is very bad, then it is merged with another bigger bank. We have a very interesting thing. We think merger will solve all. That is, if you are sick, you are accommodated with a healthy person. So you stay with it, and then hopefully what normally happens is that healthy person also will become sick. But our solutions are unique. That is a type of situation in all these. The third type of debt is what is called household debt. The debt incurred in the household. Unfortunately, housewives do not have facility of that printing machine. It would be nice if every housewife is given a small printing machine. You use it before preparing coffee in the morning. She can print what is required for the day. But that facility somehow is not encouraged. So, household debt is a phenomenal problem, and that has to be met. And unfortunately, farmers have got some groups. They can agitate. Laborers can agitate. Students can agitate. But housewives don't have a position to agitate in order to. So that is the serious issue. If you look at the household debt as percentage of GDP, most of these countries have phenomenal amount of household debt. Is it the Britain is nearly 100%, and Canada, most of these households don't save. The word saving is not known to them. One American colleague of mine asked, what is the saving you are all talking? I told that 6-letter word you have removed from dictionary, and now you are coming and asking. Saving is not. Because they think government will take care of their old age requirement and other thing. And that itself is a big question mark today. Government may not be able to take care of the old age requirements and other things. Anyhow, saving is not there. Borrow and live. That is a basic thing. What for purpose you borrow? You borrow for house itself. EMI and mortgage. Then you borrow for vehicles. You borrow educational loan. Then of course credit card. All these are major type of borrowings. And almost, there is a study which says average US household individual has got 13 credit cards. 13. Because what happens is when you reach a level in a particular credit card, you shift to the other card. They lure you to come over. Not that they are going to charge you more, but at least you can. So the first card you can repay. The second card fellows will be more bloated. And here you have crisis, so you have to go to the third card. Like that, it's a story which is never ending, right? So that is household debt situation, acute type of a crisis faced by the individual households. They are not in a position to meet the obligation many a time, and lot of times we read in the papers and other thing, violence and that type of thing. There is one more dimension to the household debt problem: the huge amount of births outside marriage, out of wedlock. In my school time, these children are all called bastards. Nowadays, that word is not used because that is supposed to be, very old. Now it is called new normal. See, you should appreciate Americans on one thing: their ability to coin new words in order to tell the old thing only. They will kill somebody, they won't say kill. We have deleted that person now. We have deleted. So you think that some nice thing they have done for him, deleted, then you understand, oh gosh, he has been finished. Like that, this is US situation is 70% of black birth are outside wedding. They are called single parents. Most of the time it is single mother, not a single father. Single mother struggling with 2 kids, 3 kids and other thing. And the government to some extent is facilitating in terms of providing some what you may loosely call gratis, or but that is not adequate. In England they give something like 150 pound or something. So if you have 4 children, you earn 600 pound. If you go and work, you may be getting something like 650 or 700. So it is much better to have children and be at home. And 6, 7 children also you can have. So that is the children are considered as investment purely from this point of view. Not that they will study and come up in life and other thing. The government benefit will be more. So this is a huge crisis faced by that country. Not just them, UK, Denmark, Norway, all these you can tell. The single parent family is the largest problem. Very interestingly, no media in India ever talks about it. Have you seen any TV, any newspaper focusing on this fundamental issue? If you are in US, if you listen to radio talks, most of them are on this social crisis, particularly for the blacks. The crisis of the blacks has got nothing to do with that 200 years before slavery and other thing. Today's their problem is this unwed mother. And why this is a huge problem, whether you like it or not, all societies, Hungary, India, Denmark, US, everywhere, father is used as a controlling variable. When the person is too young, he say, Papa will come, I will tell him. Father will come, I will tell him. So the kid get worried. Father, if he tell what... After the kid grows up, he knows who is really controlling the family. That's different. We won't enter into that. I'm talking about very, very young. So fatherless kids, most of them get into gangs, drugs, and various other type of illegal activities. There are a lot of studies in US about this bushfire, they call it. Baltimore, suddenly Wisconsin, suddenly there will be some local fight, and then the kids will enter the departmental store and loot. All these kids are unfortunately single parent families. In UK 2010, some of you may remember, some of you may not remember, the kids had a massive riot in the London, Manchester, Birmingham, everywhere. Kids, I mean, in the age group of something like 8 to 14. Police were not trying to pull them out, and they didn't shoot them or anything. And then they constituted a committee. UK is very well known for constituting committees. We are really mastered with them also about the constituting. And the Church of England head, Archbishop, he was a member of the committee. And in the end, the committee report came. It's in the internet. You can have a look at it if you feel like 2010 rights. The first sentence is, the sovereignty of the family is dead in UK. In other words, the family is, parents are not able to tell their kids, you shouldn't go on the street and write. That sovereignty is gone. So that is the type of a crisis they are facing, which we are not even discussing, we are not even aware of it or any such thing. So this is the major problem for them. See, the broken family system is actually fundamental issue, because family as a building block is extremely important. You have family, then from there you have caste, you have communities, then like that it goes. And the basis is lost, then there is a huge amount of problems. And coupled with that, unemployment. Youth unemployment is running between, incidentally, youth in their statistics is 16 to 24. Very important. Because in India, 55 years is youth, 60 years is youth, LK Advani is youth, I am also youth, everybody is youth. So let us not, our definition of youth is totally different. Their definition is very rigorous. They monitor. Why they are worried about youth unemployment? Because these are the fellows who can come on the road and throw stones on the buses. If you are 55 and unemployed, you go to a church or temple and pray to God and pester all the neighbors and friends and relatives, When I was AGM, it's all over. But, trying to recollect your achievements. When you were, I always say, retired person is like a fused bulb. There is absolutely no need to, it's over. That the fused bulb, this bulb was giving so much light, it was so nice, and what is the point? It's over. So, those people are not measured. What is measured is the young people who are prone to violence. That is the reason. You can see that. Not a very desirable state of affairs for most of these European countries. And many of them again are coming from single parent family. That is the major point which we should remember. What has happened? Why the family? See, the big companies reduced the family size. Many people don't realize it. The joint family was destroyed by corporate in India and in US, in Europe, everywhere. If there are a 10-member family using one refrigerator, if you have 5 2-member families, 5 refrigerators will be used. Very simple. Smaller the family size, larger is the market for the companies. That is the reason you go to 80s and 90s in that television serial. Lot of this American and European serial, happy family will be shown as husband, wife, 2 kids, maybe a dog. Husband, wife, 2 kids. I am serious. No happy family will have a sister-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, no way. And the same thing we are following here also. Our Ekta Kapoors and so many others have come. Happy family will, first question many times I find young girls are asking after marriage, are you planning to go away? Live away. One of my students told, I don't want any excess baggage there. I asked her, what does it mean? I don't want the boy to have a father and mother. I told you, go to orphanage first. Straight away. Your chances are bright. Otherwise, no. So this is the, the whole culture is culture of reducing the family size. This is very, very important. And joint nuclear and now proton, single parent family. There is no more nuclear family, one parent only. And today, very interesting, California, one of the colleges told, oh, you have father and mother both with you. The boy told, yes, oh, you are a privileged person. So they gave him, 5 marks less. Believe me, sir, you have both the parents with you, that means you are privileged. So you are getting the reduced marks in the system. So even if you have both parents, don't reveal it. Say that, my father has run away, my mother is in bad shape and all that. Okay. So now what they want to, the corporate want to create new versions of families. That is why this LGBTQ and other thing are coming up. Because they want to create a new family with this type of an arrangement. And now there is huge chaos in many states in US where they say at 15 years you can decide whether you are a boy or a girl. This is something very funny. You get a freedom. When you reach 15, you can decide. Sir, I want to be a boy. I want to be a... Till then you will be it. You won't be he or she. It's type of things happening you won't even believe, sir. So there is a very bigger issue. Third dimension of the problem is the migration or illicit immigrant or undocumented people. All sorts of names are used. Basically, they are all illegal migrants coming from North Africa and these war-torn nations, Iraq, then Afghanistan, Pakistan, all these fellows. Every day, 10,000 want to enter into Europe. 10,000 people are, and of that some people succeed. 5,000 at least. You may be reading in the paper, I'm sure. In the boat they come and then the boat get, and then some of them die, some of them are, all this. Fundamentally massive problem is migration, illegal migration. The reason is they themselves. Right? There is a proverb in Tamil, I am sure in Kannada also. Sonda salavilla sunyam paakiradu. In your own expense, you do the sunya for yourself. So, like that, in 2000, German Chancellor brought a rule wanting to give green cards to Indians. Because that time, some of you may remember, this Y2K, India did a very good job. And many of the Indian IT experts were all appreciated and others. He told, we will give 5 years, they can come and stay here. This card can be used by them. And we will select up to 5 lakh, that is 500,000 maximum at any, and then 2000 it was. Then in Bavaria there was one crackpot like Joseph Strauss. He is what he can be compared with. Some of our regional, family-based leaders. He began to agitate. He told Indian kids will come and take away the German kid jobs. It is unacceptable, and it was dropped. The man also lost the poll who proposed this. Later, Merkel came and she went in for this immigration policy for Europe. Bring all the, and unfortunately, what was originally planned was to get trained IT fellows from countries like India. Finally, they landed up with these fellows who cannot, do any work or anything. They create a lot of nuisance, and all of them are paid a good amount of money. And if you get into the illegal track, you can even stay in a good hotel and everything today in Europe for a long period of time. One British fellow recently, one Islamist from North Africa, he complained that they are shifting him from one residence to another residence, which is not very good. He has got 7 children, he says, and I am struggling. And why are you not working? I have 7 children, how can I work? This is a sort of a crisis which they are facing. US is also facing. This is they are getting people from down south, from Latin America. And this is one of the trains in which they all come with love and affection. And many of them escape. And that wall has not been constructed. They are talking about that wall for a long period of time. I don't think any wall will come. Because now there are no white Americans to construct the wall. That wall has to be constructed by these fellows. After constructing the wall, they will be this side of the wall. They will not go to the other side. There is the amount of problem they are facing. This you will not. And this is one of their major election issues now. This illegal immigrants. It's Trump accuses this lady Kamala Harris for encouraging this, and this goes on. Why this immigration was encouraged is this reason. But that was the stupidest way to go about doing it. The population is getting reduced. Now you can see Europe has got only 10%. Europe had 25% of the world population. You won't believe me. In 1918, First World War time, every fourth fellow was a European. Today only 10%, and it is expected to become 2%. So to reduce the crisis, Europe thought better to get people, but unfortunately they got the wrong people. They are not focused and then trying to get the right people. So, and as usual, nobody knows in France how many people belonging to the Islamic faith are there. It varies between 8% and 20%. So some professor I was talking to in Paris, he told this is our problem. I told don't worry, that is also our problem. We also don't know how many fellows are in our country. Nobody knows. These are all just coming and going. That's all. And Europe, Asia is reasonably okay. And of course Japan, we have not separately told. Japan is gone. I can assure you of that. By 2050, there won't be any Japan. There will be a couple of Japanese kept inside a glass cage, and people can see in the museum. He is the Japanese. It's an endangered species. I was a member of the commission on aging. I don't know why they put me there, because I am also aging, possibly. Anyhow, every time I used to go to Narita, every time the problem is they don't want migrants. Very simple. They feel that will, pollute their purity. And their families are not producing enough children. They just, many of the girls, 70% of the girls in a survey last year, they didn't even want to get married. So that is the type of a situation Japan is facing. Acute situation. Japan has got ghettos, slums, where the construction workers are all Chinese. Japan treats Chinese with contempt, and Korean treat Japanese with contempt. It's all highly confusing situation. But the fundamental thing is, Japan is having a massive problem in terms of reproductive and in terms of demography. And their own forecast suggests 2050 will be, currently they are on a decline. Every time they do the census, in India we do the census and we say that so many crores more and other things. There they say the other way. So many lakhs of people are less in Japan. So they really do not know how to deal with this situation. So anyhow, that's a separate one country problem. Kindly don't confuse between Japanese companies and Japanese society. Japanese companies are doing very well all over the world, because like this Honda, for instance, Indian market is much bigger than many of the other markets for them. So that is a different type of a thing. What are the recent trends? Britain ran away from Europe. They told enough is enough. We are not going to sit with these fellows, which is, and not that they are in any better situation. And Trump says that all these multilateral institutions are all bogus. Given half a chance, if he becomes president again, he may even withdraw from United Nations. He will withdraw from WHO, UNESCO. He says all these are talking shops. Just, and then why should we fund all these organizations? So, he is exact opposite of the globalization group. Everybody jumping into globalization. Today, only country experts talking about globalization is India. Nobody else is talking about global. Europe, of course, we saw shrinking of Japan. China says that we will lead the world. That is major worry for others. Leader is not there today, but China says we will give leadership. And they are trying, they are getting all the African countries, they are giving them huge amount of loan, and they are giving all the uh, Southeast Asian countries. So all these China is doing. And the war is there between radical Islam in West. West doesn't recognize it as a war. That is another issue. Unless you recognize it as a war, you cannot fight it. So West is still, talking about assimilation, integration and all the things. Anyhow, rise of right wing everywhere. France, England, Germany. Germany recently one state the right wing groups acquired in order to form the government. So this is don't mistake me, in another 5 years, Europe may have a civil war within Europe. It's not going to be and as usual, they may ask India to come and help them, send the troops. We will send it. We have too many numbers. So in Delhi, I don't know whether you have seen in India Gate, that's all the people who have perished in the First World War. So one more we can have in the European war. How the Indians fought valiantly. Against whom nobody knows. Valiantly they fought. That's all will be told. So our situation is much better. Most important, in India, self-employed and contract labor are 85%. All the discussion about employment, government, all these are bogus. Let me tell you. New pension, old pension, what to benefit those 12%. Entire thing is only for very small. The large portion, just you go to any town, including Bangalore, I'm sure, you will find a huge number of people sitting in some street corner, and the agent will come and pick them up for work on that day. For today, you come like that. And there is a massive amount of corruption there also, everywhere. And because you have to give the cut to the agent. If you get something like 200 rupees on a per day basis, some 20 rupees he will take it from you. So this is so self-employed and contract labor is the dominant group in India. That I think we should recognize. US it is, corporate employment is 90%, self-employed is only 6%. So what we do, we import economists from US who provide solution for US situation in India. This is actually I can share it with you without quoting name. One chief economic advisor, quite a number of years before, I was traveling with him in the flight. We were talking, I told 80% in your self-employed. He was shocked actually. Is it really true, Professor? I told you should tell me. You are because he somehow thought that our situation and US situation is more or less same. Anyhow, that is the saving. Corporate and government saving, no. The large portion of our saving comes from not government, not the private corporate, households. Households are the biggest savers of our country. So first point you note down, primary reason for our economic growth is Indian housewives. Somebody asked me in Delhi, I told don't waste your time. Straight away construct statues from Kottayam to Kohima of a lady standing like this and put below reason for our growth. It's not a joke. Given the inflation, given the educational crisis, they still go on, and much of the saving is in banks as of now, not in share market or anything. So this is the household saving is around 80% of our GDS. Fluctuates, sometimes it is 70%, sometimes. So housewives are primary reason for our economic growth. So we have identified one reason. Second reason is caste. We will come to that immediately. And neither of them is talked about. Have you ever seen an ordinary housewife called for a budget discussion? I told madam also, the current, why don't you call a group of housewives and talk to them? What is their problem? You call CII, you call FII, you call this IA, and then, all these. But the actual people are these people. Call one housewife from, say, Karnataka, one housewife from Maharashtra, like that, you may not provide anything, that's a different issue, but at least have a discussion. Okay. FII, FDI, this is like this MS Subramanian. Every day, FII, FDI, economic time and all this. And they constitute 10% of our investment. But occupy more space and more. This is something very interesting in India. The inconsequential and immaterial always occupy a large portion of our media and time. You think about it. The genuine groups don't have any access or don't have any requirements. So, mostly in banks, PF, etc. Not in markets. And Goldman Sachs told 2010, don't waste your time for all these people. And he said at that time it was investment requirement to 1.4 trillion. Now it is much, much more. It's something like 8 trillion. But for financing such huge amount, domestic saving generated by Indian families will suffice. And India would need minimal FDI. IIM professor says nobody will bother. Sir, Goldman Sachs itself first. That's a very important thing. Who says is more important than what is told? So this is very, very critical. White man has told. So domestic saving and domestic demand driven economy. FI and FDI I am not telling they are not required. They are like a pickle to curd rice. Since I am a southern vegetarian, my example is like this. Otherwise, gur to this chapati or curd. It's required as an addition, that's all. No, it cannot replace the primary thing. We should welcome them on our terms, of course. This is another thing. RBI rate, so much discussion on that. Will they increase 0.5%, 0.25%? That monetary policy committee, some of my very good friends are there. Nothing wrong about it. All that is, I shouldn't use such a word. All that is humbug, sir. Waste of time. Occupation. Everybody is, have they changed that? Oh, what is happening? Most of the banks do not pass on the benefit to the customers. Let us be very clear about it. Because banks themselves are in acute crisis. They want to, find new ways of getting something. So they catch hold, sir, I see 1 lakh in your account. Can you put in some MF fund or something? Why are you asking? Sir, I have to fulfill my requirement for this quarter. So banks are in, so that's not going to. Anyhow, RBI rates bother only 20%. The remaining are all open market. It varies from 2 to 6% per month. My flower vendor borrows at 1% per day. 100 rupee in the morning, 101 rupee she has to return. Rotating on a regular basis. And gold is our primary mortgage item. So my indicator for Indian economy is she measures flowers by her hand. If both the bangles are there, our economy is doing well. If one bangle is missing, that means it is in a very difficult period. If both the bangles are missing, economy is in very bad shape. Because she would have mortgaged both the bangles. No other item is accepted by the money lender and other thing. Bangle is or chain or whatever you call it, right? Gold. 80% is financed by family, caste group. And we have a very interesting thing, some of you may know. RBI has a rule which says the moneylenders can lend but not borrow. Can you believe this? They can lend but not borrow. This was introduced during Chidambaram time. Even today it is there. So all these regulations, let me tell you bluntly, is primarily for corruption. Anybody telling about regulation is only for Food and Adulteration Act. Some of you might have heard about it. I was wrongly put, or only wrongly they put me in committees. I was wrongly put in a committee and then they asked me what to do. I told scrap this act. They were shocked actually. Sir, food and adultery, if we get scrap, people get, I told people can get stomachache even if they eat at home. So are you going to send inspectors to home? It's purely for corruption. That fellow comes to a small Udupi restaurant, I know, and this fellow puts in a cover 500 rupee and give it to him. That's all. Matter is closed. All the regulation, let me repeat it to you very, is meant to enrich the individual officials and clerks and peons. That's why you see report, and 1,000 jobs are advertised, 10,000 people apply. Why? Not because of unemployment, but for 1 rupee of salary, you can earn up to 4 rupees. Somebody asked how to reach 5 trillion. I told very simple. Take a Excel sheet, prepare for all the municipalities in the country. Major municipalities, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai. Who are the commissioners, who are the politicians, who are the contractors. Freeze their assets for the last 10 years. Our economy is doubled, GDP. This is a huge elephant inside the room. Nobody wants to talk about it, or nobody wants to. Every accident, every malfunctioning of the system is due to corruption. Why potholes develop in the road? Because that fellow approves when the road is not proper. Why the banner falls? Because why this, why that. Shops and Establishment Act. Have you heard about it, sir? If you have not, kindly go and read it. Shop should not have rats. It should have enough sunlight. All other surroundings should be clean and neat. Every day I go to buy bread for my dog, there is a nala between the shop and me. And one wooden plank is kept and I climb on that, and that's all is happening. One minister in Karnataka told, not now, couple of years before, if Shops and Establishment Act has to be fully implemented, 99% of the shops have to be closed. Then what is the point, sir? It makes earning for many people. That's all. So this is the transmission of interest rate are all. Our economy is run on open market interest varying from 1 to 6%, 2 to 6% per month. Take it from me. That is the actual rate. All other discussions are all futile. Gold, this is one of the standard item about which, Indian women are abused and why are they buying gold and other things. It is the most productive and most important item for a Indian family. It is the insurance and the pension fund, first point. The husband dies and the children are not helpful. At least some amount of gold which are maybe useful to her for her future life. And it is not we buy 1/3 of the world gold output. Old age and Middle East some 250, 280 tons. Middle East are all bought by Indians only. Sheikhs don't buy gold there. So that's also to be included. Old age security. And quantum is not known. How much quantum of gold is there in India is not known. All figures are pota figures, pulled out of thin air. I can tell 20,000, somebody can tell 30,000, nothing, nobody knows. And actually, in this all also, I can ask actually, we conducted a survey in 2010 for a book facing the future when I was working in IIM Bangalore. Part of the survey is asking the man of the house, how much your wife is having gold. You know, the variation was 10 sigma. Somebody told 40 gram, she had actually 400 grams. Somebody told 400 grams, she had actually 40 grams. And finally, most of the husbands, 96%, I will tell you the number also, did not know how much gold his wife was having. We asked them. He told, sir, it's all very complicated. She suddenly comes and says some, ring is made into earring. Earring is made into bangle. Bangle is made into anklet. Anklet is made into, I can't keep track of it. And she suddenly says, this small thing we will give it to some relative who has got a new child born. So this plus minus I cannot keep track. So my point is, if husband do not know how much gold wife is having, government of India will never ever know it. Take my word for it. There is nothing. Not only there, temple, Ananta Padmana, suddenly one fellow wrote an inland letter to Supreme Court. Let me be very frank with you. Totally unemployable fellows. Unemployable, not unemployed. One fellow wrote an inland letter from Trivandrum. Immediately Supreme Court told, check all the walls of this Ananta Padmana. They opened 2 walls. Third one they are not able to open. They found some billions of dollars worth of articles inside. Let the sleeping dog sleep. Why do you want to disturb all this? If you bring out all this, the gold price will go down. Elementary principle. The quantum of fund, not only this temple, all over India there are temples. And one communist leader told we should fill up our potholes. I told that's not the purpose for which money was given. This money was given 100 years before, 200 years before. Anyhow, so this is the major collateral in small business. Out of trade credit, remaining 60% from non-bank sources. Primarily money lenders, caste groups and others. They all require security. And gold is the main security. I used to ask this vegetable vendor of mine, why are you going to this fellow and paying so much? She says, sir, no paperwork. First. No, your customer and other thing. Just orally, I ask, he gives immediately. This is the, and I settle it. The matter is very, very simple. But people will give gold for a credible cause and a noble leader. I can assure you on that. 1962, I was in school, and in a van, actually, Rajaji, Kamara, so many leaders came around. P. Ramamurthy did not come because he felt that India is against China, not the reverse. Anyhow, spontaneously many ladies gave their bangles and things to these leaders. Very spontaneously. My auntie also gave. Uncle was not happy. Till his death he was telling, you need not have given, you need not have given. And you given. Right? So, today, suppose one jeep, all these current leaders come, what do you feel? They will all run into the kitchen and hold their neck. Because these fellows they will take it away. That's all. They won't use it or anything. Actually, this, Bangalore airport, I was standing, going somewhere. One Neta was going. Around him, so many black cat, white cat, blue cat, and other things. So many of these fellows. One little girl told, Amma, see, ashtu dodda kadaru idare. Her mother was very angry. Don't talk like this. It's stupid. I told, no. What she told is correct. Because, kindly note important point many people miss. The security around a leader is not for him. It is for us. To protect us from, otherwise he will do pickpocket or do some mischief. So, to protect us from his position. So, if there is a credible cause and a noble leader, very, very difficult to find today. So, that is what caste is. We have something like 700 clusters in India, and that is the major growth centers, not your big companies, not big companies. And all these are caste clusters. I studied this and I published a book. Those who are interested should buy the book. I am not telling you to read it. You buy it. That is more than adequate. Caste as social capital. And I was in Antwerp, near Belgium. Then it's a global diamond center. I was in a small hotel, what you may call inn or something. Bed and breakfast, that's all. So came down, saw one board called Jain Meals. I was surprised actually because I have seen boards, halal meals, veg meals, all this, but Jain meal is something very interesting. Then I found that the owner told me the Jains are our main customers. Palanpur Jains, they constitute less than 0.001% of our country. They today control the diamond business in Antwerp. Wall Street Journal wrote a big article. First time in human history, Jews were defeated without violence. Without violence. Jews used to be 70% of the Antwerp, but that was replaced by these Jains. So that made me interested. Then US West Coast I saw large number of motels. They are called actually Patels because they are run by Patels. And most of them bringing their own relatives, friends and extended family. Then so many other Sivakasi matches. 1939, two Nadars from Sivakasi, when it was a drought, they went to Calcutta. In those days, Calcutta used to be the commercial center. And from Bimco, they learnt a little about matches making. They came back and then started making matches. Why don't we make matches? And that became a bigger issue, bigger business. And then from matches, they went into crackers to papers and so many. And today, Sivakasi is one of the largest industrial cluster in the country. But it's a caste cluster. That is very, very important to remember. Tirupur garments, Namakkal, go on, you once in banking. I was in Vijaya Bank, director, quite a number of years before. There were two types of employees in Vijaya Bank. One was Shetty, other was also Shetty. So that opened my eyes to the role of buns in the banking system in the country. 4 banks of Dakshin Kannada were all in some way or other facilitated by buns. Anyhow, then Ahmedabad kites, one can go on and on, right? And one of my students came and told, sir, caste grouping you are telling, but is there any way to find it? I told you, go and buy a bulb from a non-Rajasthani shop in South Bangalore. One bulb from a non-Mewari shop in South Bangalore and come back. He failed the test. He couldn't. He went round and round several places. All of them were Rajasthani shops. How did it come? No government grant or no, it purely as a organic. And after some time, I am told that there is new, Bangalore is developing, so new markets, the assistant form a shop, and then he becomes the owner of the new shop, and that is how it. Anyhow, World Bank World Development Report 2002 has got a long article on how Gounders created the Tirupur cluster. World Bank World Development Report, because again, as I tell you that IIM professor says nobody is going to take it seriously. So, but if World Bank itself has told that means there is some truth in that, because we are what one can call genetically linked with those organizations, and right. So we estimate 10 to 15,000 clusters, not 800 700 clusters. Huge number of clusters have come. All are caste clusters. So, with the permission from M.N. Srinivas, I am telling Vaishyavization of our society is taking place. Vaishyavization of our society is everybody is wanting to become a Vaishya. Dalit Chamber of Commerce is there. I do not know how many of you have heard about it. Very powerful Chamber of Commerce. Agra Saroj, she has a turnover of 600 crores. Dalit Chamber of Commerce is there. Rajputs, Yadavs, Kurmis, Tevars, everyone wants to get into business. And those who did not get into business suffered a lot. Only in politics those castes were dominant. They got some reservation here and there, but nothing more than that after that. Okay. Ah, 1881, the British created hierarchy first time. I have been arguing in or asking in many places. Before 1881, can you tell me authentic source of having caste? We had always. Caste was never a issue. Hierarchy in caste. 1891, that Commissioner of Census of Britain, he says in India we created this fourfold category because we wanted it to reflect our own situation. There they had senior civil servants, middle level officers, clerks and peons. Same way fourfold we wanted to create. 1881 census, they didn't get much result. You know what they did, atrocious thing they did. They told the invigilator to classify the respondents as per their understanding. Nowhere in the world, any census, this has happened. That means the person who comes to your house, he will decide where to put you as a Brahmin or whether it's a Vaishya, like that categories. And this is how till 1931 this was continued. 41 was Second World War, no. And then 51, Jawaharlal Nehru decided we are abolishing caste. So he removed that column itself from the census. So this is the picture. And 1931 was used by Mandal Commission in 1985. That is another interesting thing. That pro rata they did some golmaal. Okay. So this British created mischief is we have to learn to live with it. Among many other mischief of British. And the majority of the social owners of enterprises are SC, ST, OBC. This is very important. 53% in 2013, 2018 data has not been released, and that is expected to be around 65%. So the largest business owners in this country, I mean business owner mean everyone from Darshini Hotel or further down, to Ambani. If you take all over the country, all the businesses, 65 to 66% is owned by SC, ST and OBC in our country. This is something which we should keep in the back of the mind, because we have argued caste in business unites, caste in politics divides. Think about it. We have, given a lot of examples and everything. Okay. Among all the persons, he is Maybe non-controversial, I don't know. He has also become controversial these days, God knows. So he said, the older I grow, he lived up to 38. But he says, the older I grow, I can't believe it actually. At that age, he was giving a talk at Jaffna, 1897. After he returned from US, many places he was invited to talk and other. He said the time-honored institution like caste and other, he used to think many of them were useless and worthless. The older I grow, more I seem to feel a diffidence in cursing any of them. Each is an embodiment of experience of centuries. He says. So that is the interesting thing. At state level, we mentioned about it. All these are commercial tax is gone, entertainment tax, excise duty. All this, if you ask me, can be scrapped. Nothing will happen. Because the individuals in these agencies earn much, much more than the government. Government is just a namesake. I asked once BDA and BBMP and Mary, how much the individual earns, how much you earn. I told, we have not made any estimate of that. I told, try to make it. It will be very interesting. Right? So, governing educational, medical, all of them are racket, I would say. Money lending regulation. State government is expected to regulate money lending. You can lend money at this rate, they say 8%. What happens if they lend at 22%? Nothing. That fellow will come and collect money from you. That's all. Nothing more or nothing less. Urban land sale. The land registration is the single largest source of corruption in the whole country. From Kottayam to Kohima, everywhere. This is something unity in diversity. I love this actually. Corruption is providing unity in diversity. It's not just Kannadigas are corrupt, Tamils are not corrupt. No, sir, all are equally corrupt. You can't say UPI are not corrupt. No, no, no. All of them are corrupt. So this is the thing. This land registration. You can't believe actually. All the land registrars you assembled for the last 20 years, confiscate all their assets. We will become third largest economy. Immediately. The amount of hope today, there was a report in Times of India, some of you might have read about it. They are requesting the land registrar in Maharashtra to be more understanding. They say we used to be 200 rupees. Now they have increased it to 500. 200 to 250 is okay. Per square feet I am talking about. Registration, land registration charges. 200, 250 is okay, but not 500. We have come to that type of a situation. Our strength, of course, most of us know, remittance. We are world number one. Everybody is sending money without knowing how it is going to be used here. All people are sending money. And export also we are really reasonably good in software particularly. And technology reduce corruption. Let's be very clear about it. That is why everybody resists technology. If you have travelled in train before 1992, you will know what I am telling. Without that black coat fellow who is called TT, without paying him you cannot travel. Not today. Today you don't, I was told, I don't know. I was told by a student, sir, I don't have to carry even the printed ticket. I show him the mobile phone. That's enough. Such a change has come. Similarly, passport. One can't believe. And similarly, the payment of home taxes in many municipalities, it is done through the net. And the employees are very unhappy about it. This is one of the wrong steps undertaken, sir, one person told me. Very wrong. I told, yes, many more such wrong steps can be continuously undertaken. That's a good thing, right? We know we don't appreciate ourselves. You know, GST, so much people are complaining. But European Union, one professor told what we could not achieve in 40 years, we have done it in 15 years. And many people may not even know the origin of GST is Jyoti Basu, not any other. There was a survey done in Calcutta where it was found 40% of the sales tax is not covered. Only for 100 rupees, 60 rupees is only collected. He was furious actually. So Ashim Das Gupta, one of his assistant who became a finance minister later, he was asked to, that time Manmohan Singh was the prime minister, finance minister. He was brought this matter. He told, why don't you formulate something for the whole country, because this problem is not your Calcutta only, everywhere I am hearing the same thing. Then they formulated, Ashim Das Gupta, and then it was trial basis done in West Bengal. So the original person is Jyoti Basu. And I don't think many of my communist friends know about it even. Even though, you know, everybody is attacking GST without seeing what type of integration of the market has taken place. Railway reservation, I told you. Passport, local taxes, pay term, unbelievable. Peru is copying this, and many of the Middle East countries are jumping into this. This is a very, and take my word, I am not going to spend too much time on that. Banks, as we know, will all be closed in the next 5 to 10 years, because they are, you know, redundant entities. What do they do today? You tell me, sir. They go to bank and then some of them say, sir, we have to deal with this direct benefit. Why you should deal with direct benefit? What is your role in that? Anyhow, pay term will, you know, this will be the bank. This is the future. Nothing more or nothing less. All the, you know, in the 90s, in the 80s, bank employees were controlling the banks actually. They used to decide who should be posted where, who should get promotion and all that. All that is gone now. The only association is the Indian Bank Association. That is the worst possible thing. So they are instigating RBI periodically. You do this, you do that to prevent a pay term type of fellows. What is the harm? They have collected some deposit. They have not ran away with it. No, you cannot do that. You are not a banking institution. Who told only banking institution can collect? NBFC, same way. Banks have such a, what one can call iron grip. That will all go. 5 saal. I may not be around, but you just remember this. Brick and mortar bank are dead. Okay. EVM. This is something which I cannot believe. So many countries are enthusiastic about it. Because this is standalone. Again and again, 100 times everywhere, everybody has explained. This is not linked with any Bluetooth or internet or anything. Standalone, it's like a calculator. It cannot be manipulated. My colleague at Atlanta told they were not just a public election. There are hundreds of elections taking place daily in the schools, in the colleges, in the societies, right? So, my colleague in Atlanta told they wanted to use our EVM. Suddenly somebody brought him the fact that one of the major political leader in India told this is unreliable. He says when they themselves say it is unreliable, how can we? We are losing $100 billion worth of export. Let me tell it. Because of our internal wrangling. Anyhow, this pay term at least is not linked with that. It is independently doing. very well. Peru is very happy about it. Let me tell you, Latin American country, it will be replicated. Okay? We don't appreciate nor praise. We will never do that. If somebody does some good job, we will abuse him. First, investigative journalist will go and find out which caste he belongs, which religion he belongs, who financed him, why did he invent this, and it will be so very sad actually. We never ever have done anything in the last 60 years appreciating something which has been done by our own people. Not there. Okay, one size doesn't fit all. I think I explained this. Why did West fail? You can go back and all the thing. Right-based society, duties are forgotten. Business model doesn't work anymore. Homogenization. And last is, if lawyers, accountants, doctors flourish, that society is decaying. Sorry, many of you may be belonging to that, but if these three professions are, who is the highest paid, sir? Lawyer, finished. Or accountant, finished. All the three are not problem solvers, they are problem creators. All three. So our society is in, the American model is these three are the flourishing group there. The lawyers will actually chase you, ambulance chaser they are called. They will tell you 40, 60. That means if the case is 1, you get 60, I will get 40. So this is anyhow. Our economy growth is domestic demand, housewives, and women and caste. WC. That's all. Identify 2 factors for our growth. Women and caste. And we are so far community oriented, family driven, but one doesn't know what will happen after 10-15 years. Whether that will get demolished under the assault. And the funds have to come to India, and our story is just starting. So every pothole is an opportunity. Not just to the corporation employees, I am talking about overall public. There is a huge type of a opportunity. Okay? Thank you very much. I have exceeded my time. What is the implication? Venugopal Reddy was the governor of Reserve Bank. Some of you may remember him. One of the greatest thinkers of our time. He clearly told, the more decoupled we are, the better we are. Venugopal Reddy, Yagava, many of you may recollect him, I am sure. He was a very, very sharp and he was not given any recognition later. For the simple reason he was very sharp and he was very perceptive. He told very clearly, the more decoupled we are, the better we will be with the Europe and US. So that will be the final gift. Venugopal Reddy, I am sure. Thank you very much.